let go of how you thought your life should be and embrace the life that is trying to work its way into your consciousness. Surround yourself with the dreamers, the doers, the believers, and the thinkers, but most of all, surround yourself with those who see the greatness within you, even when you don't see it within yourself. Turn to the person next to you and say, I see greatness within you. I see greatness. It is a privilege to be here today. Our intention with this 2 hours is 2 parts. Leaders always ask me, what is more important, the how-to skills to start a new startup person, or is it the internal project? And I think most leaders will agree that at every rank change, you have to begin with the internal project. This business is a business of duplication. The how-to skills duplicate at every step of the way, but the internal project is something more, something that we have to find within ourselves. As we continue to work on this internal project, it becomes the fuel for this movement with Young Living. We don't want anyone to miss this movement.
Our world today has more distractions than ever. So many, in fact, that some are missing the movement that's happening right in front of them. A movement that is allowing people to transform their own destiny and revive their communities. People are realizing that they need to rise up as they are tired of living life on autopilot. They realize a greater destiny lies within, so they set forth on a movement to redefine freedom and proclaim a life of wellness, purpose, and abundance. They now understand the power of their legacy. As this movement continues to build, we need leaders, the forerunners, the pioneers, the luminaries, the people who will forge ahead and create a path for others who share the dream of being champions of their own destiny. Who among you will boldly set out on this journey to spread hope, health, and freedom? Who has the courage and the discipline to step out on faith and ignite the passion within others to hear the voice within themselves, the greatness monster?
Do you hear it? Do you hear it? Put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I am ready to be a champion of my own destiny and step out in faith and ignite the passion within others through mentoring. Today is all about mentoring the next. You cannot kindle a fire in any other heart until it is burning within your own. Young Living was started by a man who had fire in his heart, and that gave him great purpose. And that purpose turned into a movement of people who ignited the fire within them. His vision oozes from his heart. If you believe in this movement, say yes. Yes. Does this vision ooze out of you? One of the great joys of this business is that our dreams and our passions and our purposes begin within our heart, where the passion is. And when it does, people respond to us. That's why we become messengers of hope. It is our stories that give hope to others. Repeat after me. Put your hand over your heart. I am a messenger of hope. I am ready to release my greatness. As leaders of Young Living, we are commissioned to mentor others to find their own greatness, no matter where they start from. We are here to raise people up. We are messengers of belief as well as hope. People sense our belief in what we do. Take an ordinary person and make them extraordinary on their own terms. Say it with me, hand over your heart. I am commissioned to mentor others to find their greatness. I am a messenger of belief. I am a messenger of hope. Finding our greatness is an internal project. In order to truly manifest a life of joy, connectiveness, purpose, fulfillment, we must live the life that we talk about authentically. And that is why ULA is so incredibly important to us, that we find that balance in life. But we need to reflect upon our ULA authentically and really move towards fulfilling our greatness. The growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. As you begin mentoring people, you're going to discover there's 3 types of people. The first are the jawbones. They talk about changing lives. They talk about the impact that they want to create. They talk about ULA goals. They talk and talk and talk, but nothing happens. The next set that you may find are the wishbones. They wish to impact people. They wish to make changes. They wish everyone would do the ULA goals. They wish and wish, but we have to stop wishing, right? But I'm standing among the backbones in Asia Pacific here, and I want to congratulate you. The backbones are the doers. You are the people that make the impact, that make the changes, that do the actions, that make incredible impact in this world. So I want to congratulate you. It is such a privilege to stand arm in arm with you in this amazing journey with Young Living. Now you notice the eyes in all of the photos. That's very important. This is a relationship business. And we have to realize that when we look each other into the eyes, brain chemistry actually changes. And so it is so awesome to be here with you all and look you straight in the eye. You are the pioneers of this region. You are the luminaries. You are the forerunners making a difference. Every country has such challenges, and here you are, step by step, changing those problems to set the stage for the others that will come after, who don't even know they're going to be part of a movement in the future. So I want to thank you for that. I am here only as your cheerleader and as your colleague, as we move forward, impacting the lives of people and starting a ripple effect across the globe. Give yourselves a hand. My beautiful daughter, Maura, could not be here today. As we all know, life has a way of throwing us face down into the dirt, and we have to pick ourselves up. I asked her permission to share a poem that she wrote about her greatness monster. It is that greatness monster that will pick her up. And it is that greatness monster inside each one of you. When our businesses or our life throws us face down in the mud, that voice will pick you up too. So listen to this poem called The Greatness Monster.
My greatness monster lives inside my chest. She drums against my heart, anxious to be heard by the world. I've been feeding her, growing her, searching for ways to nurture her. Lately, she's been restless, ramming against my ribs, screaming, "Let me out, I'm great!" Or thumping against my skull, screaming, "I know the answers, I'm great!" I love my greatness monster. We help each other live. Am I ready to let the world hear her, I ask? But it's not my choice. She obeys her own clock. The thumping in my chest grows louder and louder each day as she becomes greater and greater, too great to keep her to myself. The greatness is welling up in my chest. It's all I can focus on, all I can hear. Anything less than great is shed. Only the thump, thump, thump of greatness remains. Am I the only one hearing this? I yelled desperately over the thumping. I hear you, said a voice. I thank my greatness monster for everything I have. Her thumping in my chest guides me through life, towards my infinite greatness.
We can tame the greatness monster or we can feed it. And I believe that all of us here are going to choose to feed it. I want you to place your hand over your heart, but if you're starting to get a little attitude, you can put your hands on your hips and say it. I am listening to my greatness monster. You can't give what you don't possess. Bob Proctor, a personal growth coach and an author, says self-discipline is when you give yourself a command and you actually follow it. So that leads us to this question. What separates the $1,000 a year earner from the $1 million a year earner? Well, we know it's not the compensation plan. We know that it's not the product necessarily. And we know it's not the country, is it? It is you. That's why we want to work on the internal project. Leaders develop a $500 an hour mindset. When you begin mentoring your new startups, they may only be ready for a $100 an hour mindset. But we want to work towards that $500 an hour mindset. These three things will take you to the next level. The inner game, the mindset. There is no proof that the how-to skills will provide anything for you unless you deal with the things that are holding you back. Kai talked about the subconscious. We have to work until that is saying and driving us the same direction as our conscious mind. The second thing is the outer game. This is how you mentor your next startups. Teaching them the skills and filling their calendars with action. And the third thing is the total game plan. What we do with our team is you take your core team of 4 or 5 and you sit at a table together and make your strategy for the game plan that is going to take you to the next level. Now let's hear what Maura has to say about perfectionism versus striving for excellence.
Hi everyone, this is Maura McDaniel with the Younger Living Content for Young Entrepreneurs. And something I've been dealing with lately is this idea of being perfect. And sometimes I mix up being perfect and striving for excellence. And as a recovering perfectionist, I get overwhelmed sometimes because I know as humans we are unlimited and we have infinite potential and infinite possibilities and infinite choices, and we can create our life the way that we want to, and we get to choose our thoughts every day and make all these choices to make life the way we want it. And so I want to do it correct the first time, and I want to be perfect the first time I do it and make the right choices. But that just isn't a real thing, and that's just an illusion. And you know, I think sometimes that I need to be this perfect mentor or this perfect athlete or this perfect artist before I can inspire or help other people. And that just isn't true either. And I think about all the artists of the world and what if all the filmmakers, painters, poets kept their art because they didn't think it was perfect, they didn't think it was good enough to show the world, and how much our world would be lacking, and how less rich our lives would be because they hid that from ourselves. That's what makes life rich, and thinking of life as this canvas that we get to paint however we want, but sometimes we make these mistakes. However, we can make those mistakes beautiful if we learn a lesson from it. And so I've been learning to have a little more self-compassion and and not needing to be perfect and accepting not being perfect, and balancing that idea of being grateful for where I am now with striving for excellence and becoming a better version of myself. And balancing those things and making my mistakes beautiful by learning a lesson from it. And I'm grateful for all of you who took the time to watch this video, and my hope for you is that you become a young entrepreneur.
We do not have to be perfect. We have to realize, though, together we have collective power. And if we just let our passion speak for us, people will feel that, and our stories will inspire them. Have you ever thought about that, the collective power that we have as a group? What about the collective wealth together, how we can impact that world? Let's think about that for a minute. How does Young Living affect the world around you? It's very important as we think about our businesses. Of course, we know it brings people deeper health. Something very important to me, it affects our environment. I want to leave the next generation a beautiful world to live in. The financial benefits are incredible. And this is where I want you all to embrace the business. We lead with the vision of Young Living. The products, of course, are easy to talk to, but I want to encourage all of you to weave the business into your conversations, because we can help people to have a way out, a way to be above their own average, a way to make their life even better. We definitely impact our communities. We impact our neighborhoods. We even impact the environment around us. Sometimes I think of Young Living as a personal growth business with a comp plan. Did you get that? We definitely, as we move forward, every step of the way, we have to work on that internal project. Leadership is all about influence and being the example. Realize that every decision you make, whether negative or positive, has a ripple effect. So it's very important that we set the example. We stand strong in our core values, we stand strong in our ethics, and don't cross the line. People are watching us. That's what builds a culture in your organization. As we strive for excellence, let's remember this is a relationship business. Does your team believe in you enough to take the leap of faith with you? That's what the internal project does for you. As we take a deeper look at the internal project, it can get complicated. Kai talked about the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind hears information. It gathers information and it simply knows information. The subconscious mind listens to the information, learns from the information, but does with the information. Now there's a feeling that drives us into action. To explain this further, Vince Pasquenti will tell us a little bit more how that works.
When we think about how the brain works, there's a study done by a guy named Dr. Lee Poulos. And Dr. Lee Poulos was establishing the activity of the conscious mind and subconscious mind. And in order to do that, he found that in a second of time, the conscious mind processes with 2,000 neurons. So right now, your conscious mind is processing this message. You're thinking, oh, that makes sense. I'm enjoying this. You might be thinking at the same time, you know, he looks like Steve Martin, Bill Clinton can't decide. The conscious mind, 2,000 neurons. In the same second, the subconscious mind is processing with 4 billion neurons. 2,000 conscious, 4 billion subconscious, below consciousness. Who's in control? The subconscious mind. Well, here's the grand illusion. You walk out these exit doors and somebody says, how well do you know yourself? What would your answer be? I know myself really well. The grand illusion. And the ant right now is making decisions all day long. This is what I want to do. I want to go west, and starts walking west on the back of the elephant. What if the elephant is headed east? Which way is the ant really going? East. And it's human nature. The conscious mind, I want to go on a diet. Subconscious mind, I don't think so. Not without those venti, triple latte, whatever things. How powerful would it be if your ant and elephant headed in the same direction?
2,000 neurons versus 4 billion neurons. Is the subconscious internal project important for us to work on? Yes. Advanced leadership is all about communicating and taking people from where they are to where they can discover their own greatness. So what we want to do with a vision of Young Living is communicate it from a logical starting point and bring them into seeing the larger vision. So there's actually some phases to communicating a vision taught to us by John Maxwell. So to illustrate this, I would like to share with you a story, and it's a story of 3 blind brothers. And every day their sister would take them out for a walk and expose them to the world to give some joy to life. And today, as they were walking along, they came upon an elephant. And as she positioned her brothers in 3 different places, the first brother was standing by the trunk, and he felt the trunk, and he said, "It is like a big snake." The second brother was on the side of the elephant, and he touched the elephant, and he felt a very solid structure, and he said, "My goodness, it's a mighty wall. It's a strong fortress." The third brother felt the leg of the elephant, and he says, "You are all wrong. It's the trunk of a mighty tree." As we think of our new startups, and they can only see the logical part for themselves, and we know there's a larger vision, how do we say who is right? Are all of them right logically? Yes. So it is our job to mentor them in order to see the greater vision. Something mightier, something more magnificent that's yet to come. But we have to begin our communication logically or it won't make sense. Would you like to know how to communicate the business side of Young Living so it makes sense to new startups? So there are 3 phases. So let's look at what a vision is first versus a personal why, so we understand the definitions before we learn how to communicate them.
Hi everyone, this is Maura McDaniel with The Younger Living, content for young entrepreneurs. And today I want to talk about having a vision, because that's different than having a why. I think about it as riding off into the sunset. The sunset is your vision, your vehicle is your horse or network marketing, and the why is the reason why you're on that horse riding into the sunset towards your goal. And I think it's important to have a vision because it pulls you in the right direction. And like having a why, it keeps you on track even when you might not feel like doing Young Living as a business, or if you get discouraged. And when I first started the business, it took me a while to embrace it because network marketing was such a new thing to me, and I thought maybe it was too good to be true. But it is too good, but it is true. And my why right now is I want to be surrounded by a community of young people who are health conscious and who care about what they're putting in their bodies as well as in the earth, and who are dedicated to collaborating and who are driven, who want to work every day to become a better, stronger version of themselves. And most of all, who are dedicated to being the example to show the rest of the world how good life can be by living life on their terms. That's my vision. And not everybody's gonna get it,
because network marketing is different. Network marketing focuses more on what you want to learn rather than your past resume. Network marketing is more focused on relationships and working as a team instead of just being an employee and working off of your individual effort. And in a world that's so used to one way over the other, that's going to create opposition and resistance because people just don't get it yet. And one of my role models, Peter Kelly, asked the question, are you going to get distracted because the world doesn't get it yet? Or are you going to do network marketing because people don't get it yet and that they don't realize how good life can be? I chose to do network marketing because people don't get it yet, and that I found a better way and I want other people to know about it. Because what we're doing is so required, not only physically and financially, but consciously. And so we're only looking for people who are looking. And if you're one of those people, I invite you to go ask the person who showed you this video and ask them how to get started. I'm thankful for all of you who took the time to watch this video, and my hope for you is that you become a young entrepreneur.
So what vision do you see for your team? What vision do you see for your country? What vision do you see of yourself impacting the world? Let's begin with phase one, logically. The first phase of communicating the vision effectively is we have to speak about it logically. We have to provide sound strategy into manageable parts that people can connect to. This transfers the vision into realistic terms. Remember now the story of the three blind brothers. Each one of them felt the elephant and they had the correct vision logically. What we're going to help our new startups do is mentor them into a larger vision. Travis shared this graph with you yesterday, and we'll have to get the updated one. But one way to show the business logically, even to product users, is to show that this is a viable business and has been a great business for 20 years. That tells us that even as a product user, they can have confidence in our company. Does that make sense? So share these types of statistics. You can be so proud of the collective effort of this group. The Young Living APEC region, that is all of you, in 2014 grew 92%. With all of the challenges in all of the countries, are you proud of yourselves? Yes. And year to date, you're not even done yet. Amazing, just amazing. Some of you may want to take your individual countries and look at some statistics. Now remember, what's really interesting about all of you is every country is experiencing different challenges, and yet you continue to grow. That's why you are the pioneers. You are the forerunners, and you are taking one challenge slowly at a time and setting the pace for those to come. It's just amazing. So as you look at these two countries, they had some great growth in 2014. Many challenges are happening all over the world, and look at the growth continues. And so even through these challenges, we can take that and challenge ourselves. How are we going to overcome these problems and make a pathway for the next? I asked Kristen about Australia, if she could give me one example of another logical way to share the beautiful part of the business. And it doesn't matter which country you're from, you can find this information. They had a big challenge. Look at the bottom of the screen. We not only have the highest personal tax rate in the developed world, but we also have the strictest TGA. That's like the US FDA, and I'm not sure what the other countries have. But in the world, Australian leaders, did you just take a back step? No, look what you did. Young Living Australia has the highest number of people joining the business every week. and this has been consistent all year. We currently have just over double the number of members when compared to Australia's largest MLM company. Is that awesome? Yes, give them a hand. Whatever fact you want to use, take that and share that with your product users and your business members, because it shares the viability of this business logically. This is my favorite to share. We can take this business and connect it to people. Everybody has some sort of investment. What you have to do here is cover up the Young Living part with your hand for a moment, and don't look at that. But let's look at traditional investment. A family would have to have 48,000, and I'm taking Singapore as an example here, Singapore dollars. A Singaporean family would have to have 48,000 Singapore dollars in their hand and go and invest in an investment at 5%. And that would earn them a return on investment of $2,400 a year, and you divide that by 12 months, and that's $200 a month. So for families that don't have that, now let's go over to the Young Living side. Can we help a family develop a small business of $200 profit a month with Young Living? Do you realize how doable that is? How many of you know a family that would love to have $48,000 equivalent and have a Young Living business of $200 a month and have the same return on investment? Anybody know a family? Only a few? Come on, you guys. How many know a family that could use that? Yes. So, let's look at another example. Let's look at the top one. A family would have to have $192,000 in their hand and take that into a traditional investment, earning 5%, and they are going to make $7,200 return on investment every year, divide by 12 months, that's $600 a month. Do you know Young Living distributors that make at least $600 a month? Do you realize that is equivalent to $192,000 in an investment at 5%? Does anybody else get excited about that? Yes. So this is my favorite to share with families. I have a friend whose husband lost his job, and they lost their total retirement. And their total retirement was going to be $2,400 a month. They lost it. The company closed. And I said, you know what? We could help you. Let's do it together. And let's replace that retirement income for you. And I'm very pleased to say in 2.5 years, they replaced their retirement income that was lost. Does that get anybody excited? Yes. We have a way to help families. We need to start talking about it logically. You can also look at your country and decide what is the middle class salary in your country. And then start looking at what Young Living distributors earn. For example, I know in the US, the middle class salary is $50,000. So for us, we can help someone get between silver and gold and equate that to the middle income in our country. People get excited about that. It's real, it's logical. So take whichever fact speaks to you and begin talking about the business logically. Young Living is like an ocean. You can come for that abundance with a spoon, you can come for abundance with a bucket, or you can come to the ocean with a big boat and a tank. The choice is up to you. So what I would do is I would get with the sponsor, your sponsor, and decide what you want to take from that amazing ocean. There is even more richness as we reach below the sea level with Young Living. Wealth in the right hands has the potential to make lasting change in this world. I say go for bust. All of us should. Every person should build for wealth. We each have a role to play in this world, and when you think of the collective wealth, that is where real impact is going to come in this world. It doesn't matter if you're the top earner in Young Living or you're a brand new person. Collectively, we are making a difference in this world. How many of you have your cell phones in your hand right now? Quickly text the person that enrolled you and say, "Thank you for enrolling me with Young Living, go." The next phase is to communicate the vision emotionally. People buy into you before they buy into the vision. So to transfer the vision emotionally, you need to let people know your heart. I had a young gal just starting with the Young Living business. They could barely make ends meet paying the bills, but yet she had a heart to sponsor a child. And so I said to her, I said, "Jamie, you know that as you grow your Young Living check, you have the opportunity to not only sponsor one child, but you could sponsor another child as your check goes up, and another child." You could see her eyes light up. And that was the drive she needed emotionally to really put the effort into getting the actions into her calendar. Our stories can move people emotionally as well. Please get ready to participate. Watch me first, and you will be doing the same exercise. This is a very easy exercise, but I want you to see how emotion can drive us and inspire us. With just these 5 easy questions. I was a teacher by trade. What I didn't like about it is we began teaching to the test and we forgot about child development. As I started watching my classroom, I saw that more and more children were gray area children. That means that there was no reason why they weren't learning at the level that they should be learning. As I was in graduate school, I realized the very things the mothers were cleaning their homes with to protect their child was actually harming cognitive function. The food that they were giving their child to help their child to grow had toxins on it, and it was affecting brain function. What I discovered as I looked at my own home, I had created a healing home for my children beyond green with Young Living. I had found a solution. So I decided right then and there, the difference that I would make is I would drop everything and began sharing that message with other moms in my community. Then what happened is it moved to my whole town, and then it began to move through the state and through the nation. And guess what? We are now starting healing homes in Southeast Asia. How do I feel about that? There is such fulfillment to know that just by starting with our own homes, we can impact this world on a greater level. Now it's your turn. Take 1 minute and think through every sentence. Keep it short, 30 seconds, that's all you need. Each question, quiet, just go through it in your own head and get ready to share. How many of you would love a day off once a week? How many of you know people who would love to take 1 day off per week? Will, everybody's listening. Karen, you deserve a day off. So by growing Young living, you can have that option. Maura's friend Molly was able to pay off $11,000 off debt. How many of you know families that have debt that could use extra money to pay off? Tell those stories. I told you about my friend who had lost the retirement and was able to build that back. There's another friend who now has extra money to take her entire family on a holiday, a really cool holiday every year. How many other families would want a holiday every year? Yes, so we can inspire people, inspire the emotion in people by talking about the extraordinary stories that Young Living gives to others financially. The third phase, remember, this is how John Maxwell teaches us to share the vision. The third phase is visually. This is where you have to use your imagination. Can you imagine? Let me read to you this is a book by Joel Osteen that says you can and you will. So can you imagine? If you can accomplish your dreams in your own strength, talent, ability, and resources, then your dreams are too small. You don't need God's help with small dreams. Believe big. Your destiny is too great. Your assignment is too important to have little goals, little dreams, and little prayers. If you don't have a vision for it, it won't happen. We need to imagine our vision. Use your imagination to see yourself accomplishing your dreams, rising higher, overcoming obstacles, being healthy, strong, blessed, and prosperous. Can any of you see that for yourself? I imagine you totally out of debt. I imagine you healthy and strong. I imagine you leading your team. I imagine you blessing this world. I imagine you being a history maker. I believe and I can imagine you setting a new standard for your family. How many of you believe with me? If you believe, say yes. When this Great Wall of China was started, and it only had 5 stones placed, do you think people ever imagined something as extraordinary as this? Remember the story of the blind brothers. Oftentimes we can only see a part. Oftentimes we can only see the 5 stones, which is reality. But realize it is through mentoring that we build a vision that is mighty, magnificent, and amazing. What does it take to align the subconscious with the conscious for communicating a larger vision? It takes a dream team. Surround yourselves with the dreamers, the believers, the thinkers, and the doers. The dream team watches you as the example. You are the one that creates the culture. Together, though, you create the habits, the momentum, and the accountability to each other to dream the bigger vision. Again, notice the eyes. Leaders know it takes mental toughness. That comes through discipline, action, and sheer determination. That comes when you release that greatness monster from within. It releases the gut determination it takes to build an amazing business. What is the definition of mental toughness? How many of you have cried over your business? How many of you have wanted to quit yeah, I have those weeks too. Mental toughness is the ability to consistently perform towards the upper range of your given talent and skill, regardless of the competitive circumstances. Woo! Right? Mental toughness is the ability to remain focused and motivated in the face of setbacks or mistakes, or being able to stay on track towards and achieve the desired goal or objective. Look to your left, and then look to your right, and then look back to the person next to you and say, you have mental toughness. So what are you determined to do? We have to make a game plan, right? In part 2, we need to start that game plan. The greatness monster has been breathed into every one of you. It is the spirit within you which wants to make that incredible contribution to the world. You can do more. You can be more. You can contribute more. That's what it's telling you. Your greatness is not measured by how much you're able to gain in life, but by how much you are able to give. So as we begin to move into part 2 of the how-to skills, we want to think about why build this business? Why go for broke? Realize that it is our collaborative efforts that build this collective wealth that will impact the world. I want you to remember your greatness monster as we move forward to part 2.
Hi everyone, this is Maura McDaniel with the Younger Living Content for Young Entrepreneurs. And as we know, network marketing and personal development are closely intertwined. And this past week, I've really learned the lesson that personal development isn't always fun. And I learned why most people stay in their comfort zone. Because lately I've been listening to my greatness monster, which is the voice inside us that knows our potential and knows how great we can be. It's that thing inside us that makes that heart-thumping feeling. And I think that some people choose to listen to it and some people choose to tame it. And you know, through this past week and a half, I keep listening to it, and every time I keep listening to that thing inside me, and it keeps feeding it. And the reason why I call it a monster is because it's not this like quiet whisper from like a bunny or a deer. It's like this roar, this like tearing at my chest that's telling me, you know what, you can do more, you can be more. And I realized why a lot of people don't listen to it, because it's not always fun, it's not always comfortable. It's full of tension, it's full of discomfort, it's full of pain and overwhelm. But instead of looking at it as just this negative thing and looking at pain as a negative thing, I started to look at it as a positive, as a necessity, because pain precedes growth. And that sort of tension and stretching, we need to grow through that to get to the next level. There's no shortcuts. We have to go through that to get to the next level of life, the next level of thinking. And so, I learned such an important lesson from that, and I'm so grateful for my greatness monster, and I'm so grateful that I keep listening to it, because that's challenged me and to grow beyond what I thought I could. And I think that's true for network marketing, for business, and most of all, life. Just any sort of goals, any sort of challenge. Because it brings us to a whole new level of productivity, creativity, of ways of thinking, of athletics, anything you can think of. So I hope that you get this lesson, and that you take a chance and listen to your greatness monster, because those kinds of things are necessary to get to a whole new level of personal freedom. And you know what? Personal freedom is better than financial freedom. I'm grateful for all of you who took the time to watch this video, and my hope for you is that you become a young entrepreneur.
The human journey. Realize you are exactly what this world needs. Do I hear it? Do you hear the rumbling? It's the voice within you. You are exactly what this world needs. Thank you very much.